What's the story, everyone? Welcome back to Get It Games Fan TV. How's the form? How are we all getting on? So here we go then. 2025 is here. I mean, where the fuck are the years going, man? I mean, what is going on? I mean, it was literally 2020, like a year ago or something. I mean, it was actually 5 years ago if you do your maths. You get what I mean, though? Like, it feels like it was only last year, man. Like, it feels like it was only last year when Dublin were winning the 6th in a row. Like, I mean, it was happy days, glory days, and now it's 2025. I mean, to think I uploaded my first video on this channel in 2017. Like, that's nearly 10 years ago. I mean, to be fair, I've only been doing this, like, consistently, I would say, since 2020. And yeah, that's 5 years ago. I mean, that's just wild, isn't it? Absolutely mad. But yeah, hope you all had a lovely Christmas, drank loads of beer, ate loads of turkey and all that crack. You know, the pudding, the gravy, the mash, the Brussels sprouts. Oh, it's nearly making me hungry again. I mean, Christmas cannot come quickly enough. It's only 364 days away or whatever. In this video, we're going to be predicting 2025. So it's that time of the year again where you get to laugh at me for some absolutely horrendous predictions. And yeah, I made one of these videos last year. I actually did make a video reacting to that video, and then my laptop just decided to malfunction. Like, the predictions were that bad that my laptop actually broke. Anyway, let's get into it. Yeah, we're going to be predicting. So we've 16 predictions in total. The All-Ireland Club Hurling winner, the football winner, and the All-Ireland Club Championship, National Football League winner, National Hurling League winner, surprise package in football, surprise package in hurling, breakout star in football, breakout star in hurling, All-Ireland football winners, All-Ireland hurling winners, Tailteann Cup, ladies football, Camogie, game of the year, and moment of the year. So there's a lot of predictions in there. I think about 16 if my maths is correct. If I can get 50% correct, I'll be happy with it. To be fair, last year was a hard year to predict. Like, who would have predicted Clare winning the All-Ireland, Armagh winning it? Do you know, that way? Like, the way the league went as well, the drop-off from some teams, some of the new players who came about. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it is hard to predict at the best times. And I think this year is going to be hard. But anyway, All-Ireland Club Hurling winner. To be fair, we've a 50% chance of getting this one right, even though we got it wrong last year. So we do have Nafina and Sarsfields in the final, which will be taking place in a couple of weeks' time. And obviously, we will have a preview for that final, and we'll look more in depthly into it and everything else. I've backed Nafina quite strongly from the get-go. You know, being a Dublin team, you know, living not too far from Nafina as well. They wouldn't be my club necessarily, but wouldn't live too far from them on the L North side. I know of a Ballybolden jersey hanging up there. I'm actually not a Ballybolden man. I just got that jersey in a competition and thought, you know, I'm probably never going to wear it. So hang it up there. And I think they've been cursed ever since because they had a very bad club championship this year. I think Nafina, for me, I think will do it. I've been very impressed with how well they've done. They've battled through adversity like they did the last time against Loughrea. You know, they've come through Kilcormac. They've had some outstanding players this year, and the likes of Kieran Stacey, Colin Curry, obviously Donald Burke is a main star that a lot of people know of, and AJ Murphy, I think, has been very good as well. So yeah, I think Nafina will do enough. Like, to be fair to Sars, they did beat Ballygunner recently, so this is a prediction that could go wrong. But look, I'm gonna back the Dublin team in me, and I'm gonna go for Nafina to win the All-Ireland Club Football Championship prediction. Then you do have 4 teams in here. You do have a Dublin team in here in Coola. You've also got Clara Strandhill of Sligo representing Connacht. You've got Errigal Kieran of Tyrone representing Ulster, and you've got Dr. Croaks of Kerry representing Munster. I mean, look, we'll judge this prediction off of who I predict to actually win it. But if I had to predict the semi-finals, which again is actually in a couple of days, Clara Strandhill versus Coola. Look, we'll probably do another, kind of video on this in fair, but I think I will go for Coola. To be fair to Clara Strandhill, what an achievement has been for them. I mean, if they go and beat Coola, I mean, fair play. I'll literally, I'll clap on my hands and knees in salute, because that's one hell of achievement. Dr. Croaks versus Errigal Kieran. I'm going to go for Errigal Kieran there as well. I mean, Dr. Croaks have done the treble in Kerry. They won the league. They won both of their club championships. So, like, they're on course for the L quadruple there. But I think Errigal Kieran will do enough. The Canavans, Peter Hart, Joe O'Goose, who's doing the L, Cole Palmer celebration, which I quite admire. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Errigal Kieran. And then in the final, I'm actually going to go against the Dublin team this time. I'm going to go with Errigal Kieran to do enough. Look, it's been a phenomenal year for Coola. But I just think Errigal Kieran and Ulster teams, Ulster clubs, like Ulster do seem to have the L dominance at the moment, in my opinion, don't they? They seem to have the L monopoly kind of going there. And I think that's going to continue. I think they're going to be the ones that came through a very grueling Ulster Championship. So maybe you might say, you know, against Crokes, they might take their eye off the ball a little bit. But I think they will come through. And yeah, I'm going to go with Errigal Kieran to do the business and win the All-Ireland. National Football League winners then, as you know, for people who have followed this channel quite a lot over the last couple of years, we will drop another video probably in the next week or two, fully breaking down the league and fully predicting the league and everything else. And obviously this will be probably a bit of a spoiler between, you know, now and my actual National Football League prediction, because I'm probably not going to change it in, you know, in the space of a week. But we won't go into too much detail on it. I think, look, Division 1, when you look at it, and we'll throw the Division 1 table on screen, I mean, that is a hard division to predict, man. Like, that is like, it seems like we've definitely got the best 8 teams in the country in Division 1, and you can make a case for any of those 8 to be promoted and any of the 8 to be relegated. The new rules is an important factor to remember here. So which teams are going to benefit the most from these new rules, and which teams are going to use these new rules the most. I've kind of broken it down, and like, I think there'll be 2 teams that I'm confident enough will reach the final, and that's Kerry and Donegal. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of teams recently who've done well in the league have actually gone on to have 4 championships. So, you know, I think actually finishing mid-table can sometimes actually be of more of a benefit than actually, you know, winning the league, and actually sometimes getting relegated, as we've seen bizarrely, isn't that bad, because our man Dublin have responded a year later and won an All-Ireland. So, yeah, the league is a little bit unusual at the best of times, and I think it will be a bit of a basket case of a league where, you know, everybody's kind of beating everyone. But I've gone for Kerry and Donegal for the simple reason, like, I think Dublin will be very inconsistent. A lot of players not going to be there. They'll be trying different things out. New manager for Tyrone as well, Malachy O'Rourke. Tyrone definitely a dark horse for this year, by the way. But I don't think they'll be consistent enough. Derry, I don't think they'll go as strong in the league as they have in previous years, just because that has often kind of gone against them. You know, Galway, look, I'm not going to predict who gets relegated here, to be fair. We'll save that for the video in a couple of weeks. But Kerry and Donegal, I think Kerry will benefit a lot from those new rules. Like the 3-on-3, I think will be massive for them. When you look at, you know, a forward line of David Clifford, Sean O'Shea, maybe Tony Brosnan, Paul Gainey as well. Like, they have some very, very good forwards who can kick from distance. They've also got defenders as well who are very good at getting forward, and the likes of Tom O'Sullivan, you know, Arod and wing backs and all this stuff. So yeah, I think Kerry will do enough to get to the league final. I think Donegal will be there as well, just because Jim McGuinness and Donegal, like, they rarely take their foot off the gas. It's always like full throttle. Michael Murphy coming back in, and even though Donegal will probably rotate throughout the league, I still think they'll do enough to get the final. But I just think in Croke Park, I think Kerry might get over the line. Donegal might be looking ahead to Ulster, when I think they'll be playing Derry again. So yeah, I'll go with Kerry to win the league. I have gone with Kerry to win it, I think, in previous years, and that has backfired. But I think it's the safest kind of prediction. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, Galway won it, if Mayo won it, you know, if Tyrone or Derry won it, if Dublin won it. You know, it could happen. Even Armagh, you know, Armagh maybe have a little bit of a hangover since winning the league, and, you know, some other things potentially going on there as well, which we won't discuss. But yeah, I think I would go with Kerry to win it. National Hurling League is interesting. When you look at the Division 1 table, they've sorted out the league now, haven't they? You know, you've finally got the best teams in Division 1, and, you know, there's no longer like a whipping boy in the division. You're not going to see like Laois play 6 really good teams and get absolutely trashed. So at least that's good. You know, we've kind of sorted something there out with the league, and it makes the Hurling League a little bit better. But look, in terms of who's going to win the league, it's hard to know. Clare won it last year, but following up from winning the All-Ireland, like, can they back up that with a league win? I'm not so sure that they can, but look, I've been wrong before. You've got Cork and Limerick, who I think are going to have a lot of points to prove. I think Galway are going to look impressive in the league at times. I think Tipperary are going to be there, but I'm going to go Cork and Limerick in the final, in a repeat of last year's semi-final, and I'm going to go for Cork again. Cork haven't won the league since 1998. I mean, how does that happen? Like, how does a team like Cork not win a league title in the 21st century? And I know all Irelands are the ones they're chasing, but they haven't even won one of them since 05. So, like, it's you know, Cork need to start winning things, in my opinion. These young players, I know they've won under 20 all Irelands and all that crap, but they need to start winning senior titles. And look, maybe there's an argument that the league slows you down when it gets to Munster, and like with Clare, they won the league and then they kind of had a bit of an initial drop, and then they kind of picked it back up again. I think just winning that league will be huge for Cork and Pat Ryan, and I think they will do it, because I do think Limerick will rotate more so than Cork. And yeah, I'm going to go with Cork to win it. Surprise package in football. Yeah, this is a difficult one, isn't it? I think Monaghan might surprise a few people this year. Like, I think a lot of people are looking at, people laughed when Gabriel Bannigan was appointed as manager. But Monaghan are just so good at getting things right internally. Like, I mean, when they appointed Vinnie Corey, like, I think people kind of looked at that and were like, oh, this is a bit, this could go a bit south. And it probably did in the end. But initially, they did very well in 23. They got to an All-Ireland semi-final, did well in the league. And I don't think Division 2 is as strong in previous years. So, like, I think Monaghan, even with, like, the, players leaving and everything else, I think they'll be fine, Monaghan. I think they'll cause a surprise or two. Elsewhere, I think Meath might be an L team under Robbie Brennan, who might maybe pull up a couple of trees. Down in Division 3, you'd look at Sligo, maybe, who might continue a bit of a surprise there. Down could definitely maybe cause a shock or two. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think if I had to pick someone as my surprise package, maybe to do a little bit of something, I think I'd go with Monaghan maybe to do a little something there. Surprise package in hurling is a bit of a hard one, really, because, like, you're looking at it and thinking, like, if Tipperary and Waterford went on a run, would it be that big of a surprise? But I don't see Clare, Cork or Limerick dropping out of Munster. Like, only 3 teams go through there. So you're looking at Leinster and you're thinking Kilkenny will probably do what Kilkenny do. Galway, I think, will be better. It's a hard one, really, but I would probably look at Offaly maybe in Leinster to, like, cause 1 or 2 shocks. We saw Carlow, get a draw last year versus Kilkenny, so it's not impossible. I think Dublin are regressing in terms of hurling, in my opinion. I would look at Offaly, but what? The team I'll actually go for now, it's clicked inside that good old brain of mine. I'm actually going to go with Wexford, because, like, Wexford were so close to beating Kilkenny last year. I actually didn't think they played badly against Clare in the quarterfinals as well. They lost to Antrim, which was a massive shock. But I think even some of the newer players that they've introduced, and some of the star players they have in Rory O'Connor, Lee Chin, I think Cathal Dunbar is very good as well. So yeah, I'm going to go with Wexford to cause an L surprise. And look, in terms of a surprise, like, Leinster, I don't think it's inconceivable that Wexford win a Leinster title, I think it's definitely possible. I don't think Kilkenny and Galway are as far in front as previous years. So yeah, I think Wexford can cause a shock or two. In terms of breakout start in football, so this is players who, like, might come up from, like, the under-20 championship. I actually will be dropping another video on this probably in the coming weeks or so. But yeah, like, I think it's a hard one, really. I mean, there's a lot of good players there who I think could make an impact. If you're looking at Jamie Murphy from Meath, I think could be decent. Colm Costello of Galway, Paul Honeyman has looked decent with Leitrim. Shane McGinley was the top scorer for us common. But the player I'm going to go for, it is a bit of an obvious one, to be fair, Owen McElhone of Tyrone. Outrageous year last year for the Tyrone under-20s as they won the All-Ireland. There was rumours about him going to the AFL. A lot of people were speaking about it, discussing it. I think the fact that Malachy O'Rourke took charge, I think that was enough of a convincing reason for Owen McElhone to come around or to stick around. And yeah, I think he's going to have a very, very good season for Tyrone. So yeah, I'm going to go with Owen McElhone. In terms of the breakout star in hurling, I mean, Adam Screeney was the best player in the hurling championship, under-20 hurling championship last year. He was a top scorer, but he does play quite consistently for Offaly. So I think the idea of predicting him to be the the breakout star, I think would be a little bit kind of insensitive maybe to some of the other players. It's kind of a hard one, really. Like, you're looking at maybe like a Darragh McCarthy who done quite well for Tipperary. Like, I think maybe they might, like, mix it up ever so slightly. Jack Leahy of Cork has looked very good. Conor Whelan of Clare has looked decent as well. But I think I will go with Darragh McCarthy for Tipperary, just because I think, like, Clare and Cork won't, like, I don't think there's a need for them to introduce younger players, whereas I think with Tipperary there is. And Darragh McCarthy, 4th top scorer in the under-20 championship last year, scored 243. So yeah, I'm going to go with Darragh McCarthy as the breakout star in hurling. And then we have the big one, the All-Ireland football winners. Oh, here we go then. Look, as I said, I think it's wide open. I think to say there's a definitive favourite right now is hard, and I'd be very, very surprised when I'm doing my All-Ireland predictions, in a couple of months. I'd be very surprised if I stick with what I'm going to go with now, to be honest with you, because I usually do change it. I very rarely stick with it. I think last year I predicted Kerry this time last year to win it, and to be fair, I wasn't a million miles off there. Then obviously changed that to Dublin. In terms about Dublin and Kerry, I don't think it will be either one of them though this time around. I think Dublin, there's a lot of changes there. There's rumours about like the likes of Con and Mick Fitzsimons leaving, Paul Mannion, Jack McCaffrey. I mean, whether we hear news about them, I'm not sure, but I've heard a lot of stories about them potentially going. So, you know, that could very well happen. And yeah, I just don't think Dublin will be I don't think we'll be a million miles off, but I don't think we'll be good enough to win it, to be honest with you. The new rules are a factor. Whether they stay in for the championship, though, there is the option for a review after the league, so that'll be interesting to see. I think Kerry, I don't know. I just don't know if they're physically strong enough as some of the Ulster teams, and I could see them again potentially losing to like a Tyrone or maybe even an Armagh again, to be honest with you. I think going forward, like in terms of David Clifford, Paddy Clifford, Tony Brosnan, who I think will have a great year. Midfield worries me a little bit, and I think not having Paddy Tally around now, who a lot of people have accredited Kerry's great defensive work. And I get the feeling it could be Jack O'Connor's last year as well. So I think, yeah, I'm not going to go with Kerry. I don't think it will be Mayo. I don't think they'll break the L curse this year. Look, they'll probably go and do it now. I know I've said that. Galway, I think it just takes some coming back for Galway to do it. Armagh, like no Ulster team has ever won back-to-back All-Irelands, and no, Armagh have never won back-to-back All-Irelands, and winning back-to-back All-Irelands in general is a very, very hard thing to do. It's only been done twice since the 90s, and that was Kerry in 06-07 and Dublin 6 in a row team. So the idea that they're going to go and win back-to-back, I think will be... I don't think they'll be far off. I think they'll make a good defence of their title, but I don't think they'll do it. So for me, like, it kind of breaks it down. Like, I think Kerry will be close. I think Tyrone will be very close, and Donegal are a team I look at as well that I think can come very close. Derry, there's a lot of kind of inconsistencies about with, like, I don't really know if Paddy Tally is going to do as well as we hope there. As I said, look, Monaghan might cause a surprise or two. I don't see them doing that. And I don't see Roscommon doing that. And even going like further with some Division 2 and 3 teams. Like, there'll be surprises, but I don't think we'll see any, you know, we've had All-Ireland winners come from Division 2 in the last couple of years. Don't think it will happen this time around. So, like, I'm torn between Donegal and Tyrone, and I think, look, it mightn't be the All-Ireland final, or it might be an All-Ulster final, who knows. But if I had to predict someone to do it, I think I would go with Donegal, to be honest with you. I think second year Jim McGuinness, we've seen this before. Michael Murphy coming back in. We'll see what happens with the new rules. But Donegal weren't really like, it wasn't like the Jim McGuinness of you know, the first spell where they were very, very defensive. They were getting after teams. They were scoring. It was a little bit different. It was very shoot quite a lot. Did a lot of kind of like a lot of shots. And I think they have enough players there in Patrick McBurty, Oisin Gallen, Kayla McGonigal. Defensively, I think they're quite strong as well. You got Finbar Rorty maybe coming in. So I think Donegal will do it. I do think Tyrone will be very close this year, though, with Malachy O'Rourke coming in first year. You know, you've got some very good players obviously already in there, and Tyrone have an awful habit of winning All-Irelands when they've a new manager. So it could definitely happen. But if I had to predict someone, I think I'd go with Donegal. We have the All-Ireland hurling winners, which is another, you know, significant one right there. Oh, look, I do think it'll be Limerick, Cork or Clare. I do think it'll be one of them three. Maybe a bit of a boring prediction. Just don't think the Leinster teams are strong enough, to be honest with you. Kilkenny are probably the best out of the Leinster teams, and they might get to a semi-final again. They might even get to a final again. You know, obviously they didn't do it last year, but they did it, you know, in a couple of years previously. I think Limerick will get it back, to be honest with you. I really do. Like, I think Clare to win back-to-back All-Irelands will be very tough. I don't think they'll be far off. I actually think they might play some better hurling at times next year. But I think Limerick will have the absolute bit between their teeth, lads. I mean, like John Coyley, like he's given up his, you know, his actual full-time job, like apparently to focus on Limerick. Like he's really gone all in here. Like he's moved to a part-time role or something of that nature. He's gone all in for Limerick this year. I feel like it might be his last year, to be honest with you. He wants to end it on a high and finish it on a high. And I think for Limerick, like they had some disappointments last year. I don't think Keane Lynch was as good as we hoped. There were certainly some certain players there who we didn't think would perform. You know, we thought like Aaron Glan wasn't as good at times as well. Defensively, like they're obviously not going to have Nicky Quaid there, which is going to be huge. Probably not Kyle Hayes, but we'll see what happens with him. But I think Limerick will be strong enough. Look, I would look at Cork as well. I think Cork have a lot of expectation on them, and I think they are Like, they probably are the best team on paper when you're going to break it down, when you look at what they have. And they've come so close. I think, like, last year they were so good, and I feel like teams didn't have an answer for them. I feel like teams will be a lot more wary of what Cork are going to do now. And I think Limerick, especially John Coyley and Paul Connor, they're experts at finding the solution. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, especially when you look at how well Cork played at times last year. Patrick Horgan was absolutely phenomenal. Seamus Harnedy, Rob Downey obviously scored an outstanding goal in the final. Brian Hayes was unreal as well. So I think it will be between Cork and Limerick. I've actually got a feeling it might be a Limerick and Cork final. But I'm going to go with Limerick to win the All-Ireland back. And I do also think it will be John Coyley's last year as well. Footballer of the year, and then we've also got Hurler of the year as well. So I've actually forgot to include them predictions initially. So we'll add them in. So I think that brings it up to 18 predictions in total. I mean, you have your obvious picks, don't you? In terms of, Con O'Callaghan or David Clifford or, Paddy Clifford, someone of that nature. It's... And like it's looking like Barry McCambridge is probably going to get, or Paul Conroy, one of them too. Like, they were certainly names I didn't spout this time last year. It's a hard one to know, to be honest with you. Like, it could be a defender again. So you could be looking, at some of the Donegal defenders, and maybe it could be one of them. You could look at Donegal's midfield. Maybe Michael Murphy returning gets it. But I'm going to go for Oisín Gallen. I'm going to go with Oisín Gallen of Donegal to win Footballer of the Year. I thought he was outstanding in different moments for Donegal last season. Again, I think Paul Conroy is going to have a phenomenal year. I think David Clifford is going to be there. Like, I think Kerry will reach the last four, and I think Clifford will have an outstanding year. You look at Tyrone as well. Darren McCurry could be in there again, to be fair. He could have an outstanding year. Peter Hart, maybe. Porra Campsey. Like, there's a lot of kind of good shouts for Tyrone in there as well, but I'm going to go with Oisín Gallen. Moving on to Hurler of the Year then. There are some very good predictions, or some tough, it's a tough prediction to make. Look, it could be a Clare player again. I do think Clare will reach the last four, in fairness, and I think Shane O'Donnell will have another outstanding year. If Tony Kelly can carry on the same form as he did sort of in that final and carry it into this year, I think he could win it again. Brian Hayes was very good for Cork last year, but I am going to go for a Limerick player to win it. And look, it's a tough one, isn't it? There's so many players to choose from, whether it be Jeremy Burns, Dan Morrissey, Tom Morrissey. You're looking at Darragh O'Donovan, maybe Aaron Gillan, Gerard Hegarty. It's a tough one, isn't it? There's a lot of men to make. I mean, Aaron Gillan is the obvious one. You could look at Keane Lynch as well. Do I go with a Cork player? Do you know what? I'm going to go for Aaron Gillan. I'm going to go safe on it. It's a bit of a safe prediction, but I need to get some predictions right this year. Now, I'll probably be miles off on this one, but I think Gillan is the most likely bet from a Limerick perspective, in my opinion. Look, if one Kyle Hayes ends up playing, maybe he gets it, but obviously we don't really know what's going to happen with his situation. So I'm going to go Aaron Gillan. I think he will win Hurler of the Year, in my opinion. But look, it's a tough one, really, isn't it? Because, you wouldn't be surprised if an L. Tony Kelly got it, this year after how well he performed in that final last season. Tailteann Cup prediction. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because you don't really know who's going to end up in the Tailteann Cup. It's usually the teams who go down from Division 2, So I don't want to kind of cast away any predictions, and obviously we'll see what happens. Clare again are on that side of the draw in Munster, so they're not going to be in the Tailteann Cup. You'd be fairly certain of. So that means, I think, the team who wins the title, I think, in Division 3 won't be in the Tailteann Cup, and the two teams who get relegated will be. So yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It is an interesting one. Could Westmeath win it? I think Westmeath will be in it this year. Could they maybe come back and do it? I wouldn't be surprised if Cavan got relegated there from Division 2. I've got a sneaky feeling. So maybe they might be in it. Mead, hard to know how things are going to go with the new gaffer. Looking at some sides in Division 3, the likes of Sligo. I think Laois could be very close again this year. Offaly maybe under Mickey Hart might go on a bit of a resurgence, but you know what? The team I'm going to predict is Sligo. It's a difficult one. I think Sligo might get promoted, but I don't think they'll go up as champions. So I think they will be in the Tailteann Cup, and I'm going to go Sligo. I think Sligo will win the Tailteann Cup. Ladies Football Championship, Kerry won it last year. You have some, Dublin are going to be in there again. You've got, Meath make a bit of a resurgence. Galway looked very good last season. It's a tough one, really. Obviously, Kerry won't have Louise Mahertic. She's retired. Dublin have a few players coming back as well. I think Dublin will do it. I'll predict Dublin to do well in something. I think I predicted them in the last 2 years to win this, and they did win one of them at least. Galway could be there again. They had a very good year last year and kind of caused a couple of surprises, in particular beating Dublin. Meath, I just don't think are the same team anymore as they were. So I'm going to go with Dublin. I think we'll have enough. Camogie, I'm going to go for another kind of boring one here as well, but I think Cork will do the 3 in a row. I just think they're too strong. I mean, they blitzed absolutely everyone. They won every game in the Camogie Championship last year. The only kind of bit of struggle they had was in the final versus Galway. I think they're just too good, to be honest with you. I mean, look, Dublin had a decent year last year. Will we be as good this time around? I don't really know. Galway will be there. There's no doubt about it. Kilkenny will be back, I'm sure. You also have other teams like Tipperary in there as well. But I just don't think you can look past a team as good as Cork. Like, they're phenomenal. Like, I mean, for how good that they've been, Aisling Thompson outstanding. I think they're going to win it again. I think the 3 in a row will be happening for the Rebels. We've then got a game of the year prediction and a moment of the year prediction, which are very, very hard to predict. And hurling, look, I'm going to go for Cork Limerick again. I actually have a feeling Cork Clare, maybe in the El Munster round robin, might be a cracker, but we'll go Cork Limerick again in the All-Ireland final. It's going to be a blockbuster. In terms of football, do you know, I'm going to go Donegal versus Kerry. I think that could be a very, very good game. You know, the kind of new rules, All-Ireland semi-finals, following on from a league final, like one of my earlier predictions. Yeah, I think Donegal Kerry is going to be a cracker. Like, some excellent football will be on display. Donegal will, you know, probably be a little bit defensive at times, but obviously with the new rules, they can't be as defensive. So, yeah, I think Donegal Kerry. And in terms of moment of the year or achievement of the year, obviously this is a very, very hard one to predict because predicting like individual moments, I mean, like, you know, who would have predicted Rian O'Neill's catch versus Kerry last year, or Armagh winning the All-Ireland, or, you know, some of the things we saw at underage level in terms of Offaly doing it. So it's a very, very hard to predict kind of, you know, individual moments. You know, just for the absolute chaos and craziness, I'm going to go for Michael Murphy to score the winning point for Donegal in the All-Ireland final.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I think that's what's going to happen. Michael Murphy scored a winning point for Donegal in the All-Ireland final. Anyways, that's going to be the end of the predictions for 2025. We will be dropping more videos soon, and they'll be on the way. And now National Football League predictions for the All-Ireland Club Championships as well. So do stay tuned. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know your predictions in the comments down below. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. You know, we do a lot of GAA content on here that is completely free. So if you could subscribe, that would be great. And until the next one, speak to you all soon.